What if the one thing stealing your sleep isn't stress, isn't your phone, isn't even your circumstances, but your own mind turning against you the moment everything goes quiet? You close your eyes, the room is dark, the world has finally stopped demanding things from you, and that's exactly when it starts. A conversation from 3 days ago, a decision you haven't made yet, something someone said that you're still not sure how to take, a worry about tomorrow that spirals into a worry about next year. Your mind doesn't know it's time to rest. It thinks its job is to keep going, to solve, to replay, to prepare, and it will work through the night if you let it. You're exhausted, but you can't switch off. And the more you try to force yourself to stop thinking, the louder everything gets. Yet, if that's where you are right now, this video is for you. By the time this is over, you'll understand something most people never figure out: why overthinking gets worse at night, what your mind is actually doing when it won't let you rest, and the small, gentle shifts that can change how your nights feel starting tonight. Not complicated techniques, not willpower, just a different way of approaching your own mind. If you've been lying awake too many nights feeling like your brain is working against you, like this video and subscribe, because what you're about to hear might be the thing that finally makes a difference. And once you know it, you'll wish someone had told you sooner. Here's something nobody really talks about. The night isn't the problem. The night is just honest. During the day, you're busy. You're moving, responding, or reacting. You have things to do and places to be and people around you. The noise of everyday life drowns out the quieter anxieties, the half-formed worries, the things you've been meaning to deal with but haven't. You don't hear them because you don't have time to hear them. Then night comes. The distractions disappear, the noise fades, and suddenly all those unprocessed thoughts, the ones you pushed aside, the ones you told yourself you'd think about later, they're all there, waiting. They've been waiting all day, and now they have your full attention. That's why overthinking at night feels so overwhelming. It's not that something new is wrong, it's that you've finally run out of ways to avoid what was already there. And most people's response to this is to fight it, to tell themselves to stop, to scroll through their phone to drown it out, to distract, resist, or push harder. But almost nobody talks about what that actually does. It doesn't quiet the mind. It teaches the mind that those thoughts are dangerous, that they need to be avoided, and avoided things grow. There's a man, let's call him Daniel, mid-40s, successful by most measures, a good job, a family he loves, a life that looks fine from the outside. But for years, Daniel hadn't slept properly. Not really. He'd lie down exhausted and spend the next 2 hours in his own head, reviewing decisions, worrying about his kids, running through every possible version of tomorrow. He tried everything: melatonin, podcasts, white noise. Nothing worked for long. One evening, his teenage daughter found him still awake at 1 a.m., sitting at the kitchen table. She asked him what he was doing. He said he was thinking. She asked what about. He paused, and then he said, "I don't even know anymore." That was the moment something shifted. He realized he wasn't thinking about anything specific. He was just thinking. His mind had been running on autopilot for so long, solving problems that didn't exist yet, rehearsing conversations that might never happen, that it had forgotten how to stop. It wasn't solving anything. It was just moving, because movement felt safer than stillness. That's what overthinking really is. It's not intelligence. It's not care. It's your mind trying to feel in control, because staying busy feels safer than accepting uncertainty. Your brain is trying to protect you. It just doesn't know when to stop. And this is where most people get it wrong. They think the goal is to empty their mind, to achieve some perfect state of mental silence. And when they can't do that, when thoughts keep coming, they feel like they're failing, like something is wrong with them. But that's not how the mind works. Thoughts don't stop because you want them to. They slow down when they feel safe, when they feel heard, when the part of your brain that's been on guard all day finally receives the message that it's okay to rest. You don't silence the mind, you settle it. The first thing that actually helps, and it's simpler than you'd expect, is something called a brain dump. Before you get into bed, take 5 minutes, just 5, and write down everything that's circling in your head. Tasks you haven't done, worries, reminders, anything that feels like it needs to be held onto. You're not solving anything. You're not making plans. You're simply telling your brain, this is recorded. It exists somewhere outside of you. You don't need to keep holding it. The reason this works is rooted in how memory and anxiety interact. Your mind repeats things it's afraid of losing. When you write something down, you give your brain permission to release it, not forever, just for the night. You're not ignoring your responsibilities. You're just putting them somewhere safe so that you can rest. Try it tonight, even if it feels too simple, especially if it feels too simple. But it gets deeper, because even after you've written things down, the thoughts still come. Maybe quieter, but they come. And most people, when a thought appears, they'll do one of two things. They chase it, follow it down the spiral, or they try to slam a door on it, which only makes it knock louder. There's a third option, and it changes everything. When a thought appears, you don't engage with it. You don't fight it. You just name it. In your mind, quietly, thinking. That's it. Not stop thinking. Not why am I thinking this? Just thinking. This is called thought labeling, and it comes from mindfulness research that has been tested across thousands of people struggling with anxiety and sleep. What it does is create distance. When you label a thought, you step back from being inside it to being aware of it. You become the observer instead of the participant. And from that position, thoughts lose some of their pull. You're not pretending the thought isn't there. You're just choosing not to follow it. This takes practice. The first few times, you'll label a thought and then immediately get pulled back in. That's fine. That's normal. The practice isn't achieving silence. The practice is the returning, noticing you've been pulled in and gently stepping back. Every time you do that, you're building something. You're training a different relationship with your own mind. Have you ever felt this? Lying awake, not because of one big thing, but because of 20 small things? Nothing catastrophic, just a pile of undone tasks and half-remembered obligations pressing against you in the dark. Share in the comments if you know that feeling. You're not alone, and you might be surprised how many people are watching this right now, feeling exactly the same way. And here's something that helps with that specific kind of restlessness, the kind that feels less like anxiety and more like your brain running a to-do list on repeat. Before bed, write a short list. Not everything, just tomorrow. 3 to 5 things you intend to do. Nothing ambitious, just a note to your future self. Here's what's waiting, and I know about it. Your mind repeats things it doesn't trust you to remember. When you prove that you've remembered, that it's written, that it's acknowledged, the repetition often stops. You're not solving tomorrow's problems. You're just letting your brain know that tomorrow has a plan, and tonight it can step back. Now, this is the part that changes everything. And it's the piece most advice skips over entirely. All of these techniques only work if your body is also receiving the right signals. Because your mind and body aren't separate, your nervous system doesn't know the difference between being chased by something dangerous and lying in bed, worrying about a difficult conversation. To your biology, anxiety is anxiety. And anxiety means stay awake, stay ready, stay alert. So, alongside the mental work, you have to give your body honest signals that the danger has passed, that it's safe now. The most reliable way to do this, backed by decades of research into the autonomic nervous system, is breathing. Specifically, extending your exhale. When you inhale, your heart rate slightly increases. When you exhale, it decreases. A longer exhale means more time spent in the slowing down phase of each breath cycle. Over 4 to 6 breaths, this begins to shift your nervous system out of its alert state. The rhythm is simple. Inhale for 4 seconds. Exhale for 6. You don't need to count perfectly. You don't need to breathe dramatically. Just slightly longer out than in, softly, repeatedly. Let your body do what it already knows how to do when given the right conditions. There's something else worth understanding, something that doesn't get said enough. Overthinking isn't a personality flaw. It's not a sign that you're weak or anxious or broken. It's often a sign that you care deeply about your family, about your work, about doing the right thing, about not making mistakes, about the people who depend on you. But caring deeply doesn't require suffering for it. The mind that won't let you rest is the same mind that drives you to do better, to be better. You don't need to silence that part of yourself. You need to give it a way to rest without abandoning its purpose, because exhaustion doesn't make you more prepared for tomorrow. It makes you less capable of handling it. There's a woman, let's call her Mara, a nurse. She spent 15 years being the person who held everything together. At work, she was calm. At home, she was present. But at night, she processed everything she'd absorbed during the day, every patient she worried about, every hard moment she'd held space for. She used to say she couldn't turn it off. What she eventually learned, slowly, with practice, wasn't how to stop caring. It was how to create a boundary between the day and the night. A ritual, not a rigid routine, just a signal. Tea, a few minutes of writing, a short walk around the house. Yes, something quiet and consistent that told her body, we're moving from one mode to another now. The brain is remarkably responsive to ritual. It learns, it recognizes patterns. When you build consistent signals that say rest is coming, the transition becomes easier over time. Not immediately, over time, with gentleness, with repetition. Dim the lights an hour before you sleep. Not to be dramatic about it, but because light tells your brain what time it is. Bright screens, overhead lights. They signal alertness. Softer light signals transition. This isn't about eliminating your phone entirely. It's about reducing stimulation enough that your nervous system starts to settle instead of staying primed. And if you find yourself lying down and your mind is still active, don't fight it. Choose a gentle anchor. Your breath. A single and a soft word repeated slowly. The sensation of your blanket. Something simple. Something that has no story attached to it. And when your mind drifts, because it will drift, you don't scold yourself. You just quietly return to the anchor. Every return is the practice, not the stillness, the returning. Think back to where we started. Your head hits the pillow, the world goes quiet, and your mind starts up. What's actually happening in that moment is your mind doing the only thing it knows how to do. It's trying to take care of you. It's reviewing and preparing and worrying because somewhere along the way, it decided that thinking hard enough could prevent bad things from happening. But you don't need to solve tonight. The problems that exist at 1 a.m. will still exist at 7 a.m. You won't have solved them by lying awake. Yeah, but you will have lost the rest that gives you the clarity and strength to face them. Peace isn't the absence of thought. It's the willingness to let thoughts exist without giving them your full obedience, to watch them arrive and pass like weather, present, real, but not in charge. Tonight, when a thought appears, don't follow it. Name it. Return to your breath. Let it be there without needing to resolve it. Write down what's circling before you try to sleep. Write tomorrow's short list. Breathe out a little longer than you breathe in. Soften the light. Create a quiet transition. These aren't complicated things. They're small, deliberately small, because the mind that's been working hard all day doesn't need more effort at night. It needs less. It needs permission. Calm isn't something you force. It's something you build, quietly, consistently, one night at a time. And it starts tonight, not with a perfect mind, not with total silence, just with a little less resistance, a little more gentleness toward yourself. Let the thoughts exist. Let your body rest. Let sleep come in its own time. And it will come. If this video gave you something, a moment of recognition, a small thing to try tonight, please like it and share it with someone who needs it. Subscribe for more honest, grounded content like this. And if you're still here, still watching at this hour, there's a video waiting for you on your screen right now that might be exactly what you need next. Rest well, you've earned it.